Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Game Masters right here on the GDQ Hotfix. My name is Fance, and today we are going to be showcasing Skyward Sword Randomizer for the first time here on Games Done Quick. Gymnast86, the one and only, will be running this for you today. Before we get into it, GDQ 2023 Online is going to be January 8th through the 15th. The second submission period, which is for games that were released after September 1st, is open now until the 12th. That's only a couple days away, so if you want to potentially run a brand new game that just released on AGDQ, be sure to visit gamesdonequick.com right now for more info. And if you want to follow what Games Done Quick is up to, use the exclamation point links in Twitch chat for all things GDQ. And here I am right now with the one and only Gymnast86. Hello and welcome to Game Masters.
Hello, Fant. Thank you very much for having me today.
Yeah. So, Gymnast, I'm glad we're having you on for Skyward Sword Rando because I swear you have run every single 3D Zelda game that currently exists at least once or something, like, and not just like one category. You do a whole bunch of categories for each one, and for a couple of them are near the top or some records in there. And I just want to dive into a bit of your history here on 3D Zelda. What got you into running these games specifically?
Well, the first game that I did speedruns of was The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Good choice.
And by the time I had gotten into speedruns, I was like a huge Zelda fan, so, naturally I was like, oh, well, I'll try all the other Zelda games that I've played. And, I just kind of like speedrunning most of them, so
yeah.
There wasn't really a whole lot of thought put into it. It was just, it's Wind Waker's fun to run, so I'll just try all the other 3D Zelda games.
Get them all done.
They're somewhat similar.
Now, you have to pick one. Your favorite individual category. You can't pick like, it could go either way. What is the category? At least currently, that is your favorite.
So this is actually a pretty easy one for me. My favorite 3D Zelda speedrun category is actually Ocarina of Time 3D 100%.
Ooh, that's a long one.
Yeah, it's a 4-hour run. Does a lot of really cool glitches and skips, and I think Ocarina of Time 3D is just a fun game to play. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, today we're going to go into Skyward Sword, which, came out around 2011 and quite infamously had a very, very lengthy tutorial segments. Kind of started with Twilight Princess, then got progressively and more involved. And we're going into a randomizer, which, tries to take something that is very linear. Skyward Sword at its release was, quite linear for a casual playthrough, and kind of turn it into an open world game for, to get the most enjoyment out of Randomizer. So what kind of changes were done to Skyward Sword to help speed up that beginning? What kind of quality of life changes turn this into a good randomizer?
Right, so the very first thing that I think was done was the randomizer devs added instant text to every text box in the game, because Skyward Sword has very infamously slow scrolling text.
Yes, it does.
When you play the game. So the instant text speeds up things quite a bit. The randomizer devs also basically skip pretty much everything that you'd normally have to do before getting off of Skyloft. So right when you start the randomizer, you can just instantly, run and jump off of Skyloft and go to the sky if you want to, without having to do any of that beginning storyline stuff.
Don't have to go through bird training or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Perfect.
And a lot of the areas in the game are simply opened up by they're not opened up really by story events anymore. They're opened up by getting certain key items that you would need to get to those areas, right? So the Thunderhead opens up when you get the Ballad of the Goddess, for instance. Or each of the 3 light pillars opens up once you find the tablet that corresponds to that light pillar. So you're not forced to go to Farron first, and then Eldin, and then Lanayru. You could just start off, by going to Lanayru straight away when you find the tablet for that pillar.
Okay, that's awesome to hear, because, the game was kind of like a straight arrow finish when it came out. Now, last thing I want to talk to you about before we get into the run itself, and that, of course, is everybody's favorite topic in Randomizer, and that is settings. So, we have a goal in here to complete it. We're going to try and do it in under 3 hours, but what exactly do we need? What are our win conditions here today?
Right, so this is on a somewhat recent build of the Skyward Sword Randomizer. It's more recent than the current stable release, I believe. And so the newest thing that we have added in are the 3 Triforce pieces that you normally get in the Skykeep dungeon. We have to collect all 3 of those if we want to be able to beat the game. And in addition to those 3 pieces of the Triforce, we also need to get the Master Sword by collecting 5 progressive sword upgrades, and also we need to get the Harp so that we can raise the Gate of Time if we want to actually get to the past, which is where the end of the game is.
All right. Seems simple enough that we can get this done quite quickly, but we're going to go ahead and throw it over to the game screen. And Gymnast, whenever you are ready, go ahead and give us a countdown. We'll get into it.
All right. I believe we are ready on the timer then.
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. So, one of the other requirements that we have for the Skyward Sword Randomizer is, with these settings specifically, we are required to beat 3 dungeons that the game is going to randomly choose for us. And we will get to see those dungeons as soon as we exit out of Link's room here and get our first item from Fledge. Fledge in the base game normally gives you the adventure pouch so that you can start your journey and collect, bottles and shields and stuff. But he's probably not going to give that to us today. Instead, he's got 20 rupees.
All right, a big 20 to start it off. Excellent. This truly is a Zelda Randomizer.
All right. So I looked at the bulletin board, which told me what our dungeons were, and it looks like today we have Skyview Earth Temple and the Lanayru Mining Facility are our required dungeons. So we will have to beat those 3 dungeons if we want to complete the randomizer. So those are actually the first 3 dungeons in the game. So they don't actually have as many requirements compared to like the last 3 dungeons that the game would have. So potential jet seed, maybe? I don't know.
Oh no.
Oh no, we set aside 3 hours for this. No.
Yeah, let me go get
mining
a call
facility.
to Smooth Octaves like, hey, you ready to start? Say no.
Yeah. The Lanayru Mining Facility actually does have quite a few requirements that are necessary to beat it logically. So
I already see chat demanding a re-roll, and I'm saying, too bad. We're already into it. The timer's started.
Yeah, so we did also get 5 gratitude crystals from that chest in the training hall. Gratitude crystals are similar to like the gold Skulltula tokens from Ocarina of Time. If you guys have ever played Ocarina of Time Randomizer. So we get certain rewards from a specific NPC on Skyloft for collecting different amounts of gratitude crystals. And they generally will come in packs of 5 when we get them in chests and stuff, and then there are a few freestanding ones around Skyloft which are not randomized. And we got a bottle. A convenient routing tool to have, actually, near the beginning of the seed. I need to enter the loading zone.
Yeah, so I'm not as familiar with Skyward Sword Randomizer. It's relatively new to me. But basically in any Zelda Randomizer, bottles are quite useful either as like a safety item, and usually they're also assorted with getting a bunch of checks, like with capturing different things. Are there different checks like that you can use like one bottle for throughout that just makes things more efficient so you don't have to double dip areas?
Yeah, so there are a few checks that do require having the bottle. Not a whole lot, actually, but definitely at least a few. It's more so just the routing being more convenient at the beginning of the run, being able to route the bottle through the various sky checks that we can get specifically is what's nice. Alright, so these settings also do start us with one pillar open so that we have somewhere that we can go. So in this time it's going to be the Elden Pillar. We're not quite going to go in there yet because the Skyward Sword Randomizer also has hint stones, which we can use to get hints, and I'll be checking one of them in here.
Coming in hot there at the thing of the
The Spirit of the Sword guides us to the Lanayru Mining Facility, and 50 pieces of gratitude can be exchanged for a blue rupee.
That's some value right there.
Yeah, that's some value. 50 gratitude crystals for 5 rupees.
Now, I'm just watching the screen here, and you seem to be going quite fast on this bird. What did you install, like the NOS on this?
Yeah, so the randomizer devs also tripled the top speed that the Loftwing can go at, because the Loftwing speed in the base game is very slow, and it gets annoying after a while having to fly around to a lot of places. So yeah, the fast Loftwing speed is very nice. Alright, so because we have the Elden Pillar open first, a lot of, at least in the racing scene, a lot of players usually like to try and clear the sky and Skyloft as much as they can before going to the surface. But I actually like to go down to the Elden Pillar here, if it's open up right away, because there are a lot of checks that we can get here without any items.
I think there's like 6 or so on the order, which is a lot for Skyward Sword. Just like they could just go get almost immediately. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Testing my memory here.
It's 6. Because I have Rupee Sanity turned on, it's actually a few more than that now. Just in this cave alone, there's like 3 checks that we can get. Excellent. So I did not... Wait, roll the bomb under there. I like how we're starting out and the motion controls are instantly not where I want them to be.
Yeah, so...
Classic Skyward Sword.
Yeah, Skyward Sword, you know, I feel was kind of a hit or miss with people on whether or not they've like gelled with the motion controls or just could not get the motion controls to work. And oh hey, the goddess' harp.
I'm getting the harp early. Pick up this red rupee.
Do you find
motion
yourselves
controls,
mostly fighting them, or do you have them down pretty good? It's like, you know, I jive with this.
No, I would say I have them down pretty good. The only time that they can kind of be a nuisance is when I don't have a sword, like how we started out here. Because it's actually very easy for me to recalibrate the controls if I do have a sword, but without one, I kind of have to hope that they will begin cooperating. Thankfully, I haven't needed them for anything too intense yet. So I'll mark on the track that we found the harp here and 5 more crystals, bringing our total up to 10. In total, there are 80 gratitude crystals scattered throughout the seed, so... but we do have limitations on how many we potentially need for rewards, because getting all 80 gratitude crystals can take a while, so for races and such, we always cap the number of gratitude crystals that we need for progressive item rewards at 50 gratitude crystals. That's the maximum.
That's pretty nice. I'm getting flashbacks to, you know, 50 Skull Seeds and Ocarina of Time Randomizer. You don't get those in packs of 5 either, so...
Yeah, that's true. Ocarina of Time Randomizer is a lot longer for that because you don't get the packs of 5. So there is a hidden chest over here that a lot of casual players don't typically seem to know about because the wall there's not a very obvious indication that you can blow up this wall for the treasure chest here.
Oh, yeah, I totally never found this. So hang on, writing that down in my note sheet here.
Also, for those of you watching, you may have noticed that this is not the normal music of the Elden Volcano area. We do actually have the music shuffler enabled for all the good music memes. Okay, the skydiving here might be a bit sketchy with the controls, but hopefully we can make our way over here. Okay, looks good. Open up the huge things that we can get here. Oh boy, a wallet upgrade.
All right.
That is not useful.
It's just preparing you for when you get those 50, the 50 check for the 5
so we can
rupees.
get that blue rupee.
Actually important and critical for the seed.
And a blue bird feather. That's also not useful. Alright, so right here, I don't have a sword, but I do have the bow, so I can kind of just shoot all of these guys down. I can aim at them, that is. Alright. And once we defeat all these bokoblins, this Magma over here gives us a reward. He usually gives us the digging mitts in the base game, but probably won't give us those today.
Hey, never know. Oh, all right, a crystal.
Yeah, Magma Turf not looking so hot, unfortunately.
Now, all these useless items, I got asked the question, every single randomizer has that one check, that one meme check that if for some reason is in the grave. In Ocarina of Time, it's a single green rupee. In Link to the Past, it is this single arrow found in Pod. What is that item for Skyward Sword? Because I want to get excited if we ever see it.
That item for Skyward Sword is the tumbleweed.
A literal bundle of sticks.
There is a tumbleweed. There is a singular tumbleweed hidden amongst the item pool somewhere, which we may or may not see. I probably should have marked that I had the ruby tablet at the start there, but oh well. Got it eventually.
Gosh, the fact that you're moving around at triple speed in the sky just, it makes me remember how long I spent going island to island, and I feel like this should have just been the baseline speed. But hey, we need to make the game big, right? So I could see why they slow it down.
Yeah. Alright, got another hint stone right here.
I thought you were just careening off the edge there. But no, right on top of the hit stone. Oh, the precision.
And okay. Elden Volcano has the Water Dragon Scale. So we didn't pick up the Water Dragon Scale, so it's still hiding there somewhere in Elden Volcano. And okay. Only got a piece of heart up there on the chandelier, so we're not going to knock it down. So at this point, we're basically just going in sort of a giant circle around the sky to complete everything that we can. As we're flying here, I'm going to write down some of the hints that I've found. Make sure we do not hit that tornado. Alright, not hit that tornado either.
I just kind of came in.
And we're gonna dive into here. There's a hintstone here, but there are also some mushroom spores that we can pick up, which are necessary for a check that we're gonna get in just a moment. See, so Lake Floria is on the Spirit of the Sword, and Beetle's Shop is on the path to Scaldera. Okay. So, probably something in Beetle's Shop we need. And something in Lake Floria that we'll need, which the Water Dragon Scale will probably be necessary for at some point. And now we're going to use the mushroom spores to save Oriel's bird so that she will give us a check. Saving her bird, and this also opens up another check on the Skyloft Plaza, where her brother is thankful that we saved her and her bird.
Mm-hmm. Aw, good bird. Look at that.
Oh, looks like she was holding on to a beetle for some reason. Yeah, beetle is actually a pretty useful item. Because Rupee Sanity is enabled, the beetle will allow us to fly around and get some of those high up, normally rupees, that have now been randomized to other items in the pool.
I remember loving just flying that thing around, just flying with the Wii mode, going around. Good stuff. Oh, this fly speed. I just want to replay through the base game with that enabled and nothing else.
I would also recommend instant text, but yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Alright, so this is Oriel's brother.
Yeah, thanks for helping out. Here's your $20.
And the gratitude crystals, yeah. See, so I only have 100 rupees, which is not enough to buy everything in Beetle's shop, but we'll see if the useful item that the game hinted about is something we can buy right away. In total, to buy everything from Beetle that we might want to buy, we do need 650 rupees, but obviously if some of that is useless, we don't need to spend that much money. Alright, let's take a look here. Okay, looks like we have another beetle. A second progressive beetle, which means we now have the hook beetle.
Yo, a single rupee, a feather. All right.
Yeah, so the green rupees that you see there actually aren't green rupees. That's just the model that's currently used in the shop. Ooh, okay, so there's actually a sword there that I'm going to want. Unfortunately, I do not have the money for it, so we will have to come back later. The sword is generally useful in the game titled The Legend of Zelda Skyward
What?
Sword.
No. I don't believe you.
I know, it's crazy.
You may even have to point it up to the sky at some point, maybe?
Yeah, that will actually be required to beat the Skyview and the Skyview Temple and the Earth Temple. Oh, 20 more rupees. Which we're not going to use anything to buy at the Potion Lady shop, sorry.
Oh.
And now we can talk to our good friend Rhina, who is chilling in her house. She just has a gift for us. Okay, so I do believe that sword is probably the next thing that I logically need to progress.
All right, so that harp there, that was not a second harp. That's also the model that's used when you get a song for your harp.
Yep. That is indeed correct. Alright, so because we had a hint that told us that Betrot's house was on the path to Gear 1, we're going to do a little trick right here to get down to Betrot's house, even though it is not nighttime, so we currently aren't supposed to be able to get there. But if we jump across those graves in a certain way and then fall off of the map, we will respawn down here. Because this is just where the respawn point is for that specific section of ground that we were last on. And because we have 15 gratitude crystals right now, we can at most get the 10 gratitude crystal reward. Which will be the second one.
Hey!
So that's the 5 gratitude crystal reward, and then this will be the 10. Oh, it's the emerald tablet, alright.
And that money.
So that opens up the Theron pillar. And yeah, the silver rupee is nice because that'll allow us to get the sword. So thank you very much, Mr. Betro. We will be back with more gratitude crystals later.
So is it every single 5 from start to finish? Or does it like taper off at some point?
The ordering is a bit weird, actually. It goes 5, 10, and then there's 2 rewards at 30.
Because of
and
course.
And then there's 1 at 40. Yeah, because of course, you know. And then there's 1 at 40, 1 at 50, and then 2 at 70 and 1 at 80. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, the biggest one that we can get is the 51, which we already know is junk, so thankfully that's not a huge issue. So at most, we'll only have to collect 40 logically for the seed. Let's go in and buy our first progressive sword.
Calibration unlocked.
Exactly, yeah, now I can make sure that the calibration actually works. We're also just going to re-enter the shop one more time to check the last item and see if it's useful or not. It is a monster horn, which is not useful, so we don't have to worry about Beetle anymore.
Still going to be working overtime. God, I still can't get over that road cutscene that you have to sit through every single time you want to go through the shop. Perfect example of, you know, Nintendo didn't want anything in this game to be fast, but hey, we're speedrunners, we gotta make it fast.
That's true. Alright, so because we have the Goddess Harp now, there is actually one check that we can get in the Knight Academy, which is the Collins Letter check. So the way that we have to set this up is first we gotta make it nighttime, and then we have to go briefly interact with our friend the Toilet Hand, who's in this game. Or I guess interact with the door that's locked that we can't get to them with. And then once we make it daytime again, we'll be able to get a check from our good friend Colin. Somebody please help me. Link's like, okay, but I can't open the door. And they want paper.
Gosh, maybe they just needed to write some memos and some notes down. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm. But instead of helping, we do the thing that makes the most sense. We go take a nap.
Exactly.
I'm sure they figured it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Alright, so the text here is actually off a little bit just due to the flags that are used to set this quest. But we do get the check that we want. It's unfortunately not useful, but we do always like having a little more health.
Yeah, do you have like a goal, like a target health where like, I'm comfortable with this? Or are you set like if we have minimum hearts, like I can do it, I can deal with it?
Minimum hearts is probably fine simply because I do have a bottle, so I can always get a fairy.
True.
If need be, yeah. But obviously the more hearts, generally, the better and safer it is. So since we got that Farron tablet from our good friend Betro, we are probably going to have to go to Farron next. If my logic senses are tingling.
And here we go.
Let me mark off some more stuff on the tracker. Okay. Thankfully, we can just kind of ignore these Deku Babas.
All right, I gotta ask. Because I never did this in my casual playthrough of the game. What happens if you do not bring out the sailcloth? Do you just eat it and take a bunch of damage? Do you die? What happens here? Can you indulge me and just land on your face one of these times you enter a little area?
Unfortunately, the game does force Link to open the sailcloth at the last minute if you don't bring it out.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Just how funny would that be? Just you don't press the B and just splat on the ground.
I mean, to be fair, you can do that if it's not like a cutscene. You can go splat on any of the Sky Islands all you want. Alright, we got another hint stone here. A pair of Armos guard the Lanayru Song of the Hero part, and the Trial of Courage grants a red rupee. Alright, well, it's good to know that we probably will not need to get that one really long check in the Lanayru mining facility. And we do now know that the Farron Silent Realm is useless, so we don't have to worry about getting Ferore's Courage or anything.
I can't believe you didn't go for the skip to save like half a second there.
Well, I might need to run back through here later, so... Also, one change that the randomizer makes is it actually adds in extra pots for arrows and bomb drops. Because, like, the Farron section of the game is actually not designed, like, with you having a bow or the bomb bag in mind. Because you don't normally have those items when you first come through here, so...
Wait, what?
Nice little quality of life change from the randomizer.
This looks also, fine right here, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a sequence break that we're doing to go out of logic. Because this is actually faster for routing generally. It is called Early Lake Floria. And this could be potentially useful for us because we did get a hint that Floria has some useful item in it.
Why is that ledge grabbable to go out of bounds?
That's a good question. I don't know, but it is.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
So we can just kind
I
of
just
jump
want to
on
know.
the tree there. Alright, so there is actually a hidden golden rupee up here, which is randomized to a red rupee today, but we'll still take it.
Bit of a downgrade.
And we get another hint stone with a junk hint and telling us that a progressive sword can be found in Lanayru Desert. Alrighty. So that gold rupee was one of the checks. The other one check here that we can get is this one in the Water Dragon's lair. The other checks that are in Lake Floria we cannot get until we have the Water Dragon scale, which we know is in Eldin, so we'll have to go back to Eldin before we can get those other ones. And it's a piece of heart, so...
Yay, more health.
Unfortunately, we did not get that useful item that was hinted at earlier.
I gotta say, you know, Link rocking the blue tunic, I think he wears it well.
Oh yeah, I really like this tunic color. Thankfully, the randomizer makes it fairly easy to replace any like textures in the game that we want, just like for our own personal randomizers. So a lot of people have like custom Link textures. Mine is on the like simpler side of things, but it's a pretty good color. Write down some of those hints that we previously got.
These little guys. Adorable balls of fluff. I was made aware of this not too long ago. I think it's this one. Kind of makes sounds that sound very offensive compared to, all the other ones. Yeah. I'm not going to say what it is. You can just listen to it. Yeah. I won't say what it sounds like.
So we're actually going to bonk into this wall right here to lower down this rope. And this cutscene is nice because it gives us an opportunity to check one of the freestanding randomized items that's in the background of that cutscene, although I couldn't quite see what it was that time. It might just mean that it's useless, but we'll have to go over and investigate a little further. Usually it's pretty easy to see if it's like a rupee or something, but it was something small that time. So the entire reason we're talking to this Kiwi is so that we can get the slingshot check and then potentially also get the Professor Allen scrapper quest check later on in the seed. See, that is an extra wallet, so we do not need it. And it looks like this rupee over here has been randomized to be silver, so we'll just pick that up.
What's your target rupees here for... Yeah, what else needs to be bought? So we know Beetle has nothing else remaining.
Right, so the one other thing that we could purchase would be... at least I think it's the one other thing that we could purchase, is the stamina potions that we need for the Fledge side quest. Where we want to make Fledge really buff. So that... he will give us things. Actually, I think we only need to do that once, though, in this more recent version of the randomizer, so I probably don't need to collect this silver rupee, but we'll get it anyway. Link is very happy when he collects those, so it's nice to see Link being happy.
Well, yeah, of course, because I think the entire economy of any Zelda universe relies on Link finding money and then buying out the shops. You know, you notice none of the shops make stuff for regular people. No, they make stuff for Links exclusively. Why would anybody else need this beetle? Come on. Or the Skyward Sword, even, from Beetle's shop.
Alright, we found a green rupee.
Hey! I'm still pulling for that tumbleweed, though.
That's true, we haven't found the tumbleweed yet. And as we all know, we can't have a valid randomizer seed until we find the tumbleweed.
No doubt.
Alrighty.
These Kikwis sure have a lot to say.
They do. They have even more to say in the original game, when Fi has to interrupt them after every text box.
Yeah, Fi doesn't just interrupt you as you are playing the game all the time. It's basically prevalent throughout everything. Even other NPCs get interrupted by Fi all the time.
Also, apologies if I cough a bit. I am slightly sick still. Slightly sick still, not stick still. English is difficult.
It sure is.
So I need to remove all the grass here and accidentally ran out of stamina. Normally we'd have, in the base game normally we'd have the goddess sword to use a skyward strike on all this grass. But because we do not have that, I have to rely on quick spins instead. And There's one more Kikui we gotta find over here. Still waiting for the day that we get to randomize the locations of the Kikuis.
Oh no.
And then nobody will know where they are.
Just, yeah, you have to go back in time to talk to this Kikui in the volcano in Eldon.
Exactly. Alright, so now that we found all of them, we can talk to the Kikui Elder who will give us the slingshot check. Because he's very anxious until he knows where all of his brethren are.
Yeah, just this model is 10 out of 10.
He also has 20 rupees. Seems like a lot of NPCs have 20 rupees this seed. So nothing particularly useful in Farron so far, but...
We still have like an uncollected hint here, right?
Yeah, we still do have the uncollected check, or the uncollected useful check in Lake Floria somewhere.
Right.
And we know that the water dragon scale is somewhere in Eldon, which I might be able to get if it's one of the freestanding rupees that requires the beetle to collect. Although logically, even though I got to Lake Floria using a sequence break, getting to Lake Floria normally does require the goddess sword to draw on the wall to Lake Floria. So right here, we're gonna try to do a glitch known as an extending blow, but it is RNG related, and unfortunately we did not get it, thanks to the RNG. Basically, if we can quick spin that Bokoblin onto a very precise position on the edge of the ledge, trying to do the extending blow will not send us to the coordinate position of the Bokoblin, but will instead send us to the coordinate position 000, which would essentially make Link fly across the map because 000 is located very far away from where we were.
Oh, that's incredible.
It would save us a bit of time.
And it's
Instead,
like,
we'll
it's a coordinate that's actually
way.
useful for you. Yeah, you may not
Yeah.
also, at least we're going to see these tightrope seconds. You may not be seeing it on Jim's camera unless I could convince him to raise the controller up. But the way you do these tightrope segments, rather than just bouncing it like you would intuitively, you just waggle it back and forth.
Yeah.
And that's enough to keep it in balance. So don't try that at home at a real tightrope. Because, everybody has a real tightrope at home.
Of course. Got mine just out back. Alright, let's see. There is a progressive beetle in the sky. I believe we found that already. And delivering a Kikui reveals Ferrari's courage. Alright, well, because we know that Ferrari's courage is useless, that's actually a very nice hint, so I don't have to go do that long check.
Yeah, I didn't realize this. I could have just segued in there. It's like, Gymnast, your name is Gymnast. Do you have, like, a gym experience?
Yeah, so I did like gymnastics training from the age of 6 to about 14. I made the username when I was 12, so that's why the username is what it is.
Yeah, because if anybody's going to have a tightrope at home,
Yeah, it's true. Wow, I killed the Deku Baba when I was trying to hit the switch. Alright, but here we are in Skyview Temple. One of the required dungeons we have to beat. We probably won't be able to beat it now simply because we do not have the goddess sword, but we will probably be able to get somewhat through it here.
Is there a certain number of sword upgrades? Oh, sorry to interrupt. Is there a certain amount of sword upgrades you get before you stop using the bow to kill pretty much everything? Or is just the bow that efficient at most enemies?
Well, yeah, the bow is generally most efficient at most enemies. Generally, once I have the Skyward Strike, I might prefer to use it if, like, I want to conserve, like, my arrow count. And we'll get the Skyward Strike after our next progressive sword upgrade. So we do want to find that sometime soon. There is a way to roll past this spider and not have to, like, shoot these vines down or hit them with the beetle, but it's a little tricky, and I don't want to potentially, like, take damage and die, because that would be kind of slow. Ideally, when doing the Skyview dungeon, we would have the claw shots, because the claw shots do help speed up this dungeon a lot, but we have not found the claw shots yet. And I think we technically could go through this entire seed without finding them, because neither the Sand Ship nor the Fire Sanctuary dungeons are in logic this time. That would actually be pretty rare for that to happen, based on my general experience.
Now, although, like, just our first three, use it or quote-unquote easier dungeons, the starting three, are the ones we need to beat, could there potentially be required items for those in future dungeons, or is it very unlikely we even step foot in one of the later game dungeons?
Yeah, so we're not going to be stepping foot into any of the other three dungeons, because there's a setting we have enabled that prevents any dungeons that aren't required from having useful items.
Okay.
Because otherwise the seed could potentially take, 4 hours or something ridiculous. So, more for all of our sanity that we do not have that enabled. And so we did get a small key, which means we can progress a little bit further. There is a check at the top here that we would get if we had the digging mitts, but we can't dig the dig spot without the digging mitts, so we'll have to come back for that check later, potentially.
Hopefully not. Dungeon at double dip or double dips. I can talk, and I know we talked about English being impossible. Chat, type 1 if English is impossible. Type 2 if there's nothing wrong with English whatsoever. You're an expert, etc., etc. But yeah, double dips of dungeons. Something every single Zelda randomizer player wants to avoid. I'm sure this is no exception.
Yeah, that's true. Also, these eyes...
Peak motion controls right here.
What is going on with these eyes? They are... well, let's see. Try to get the motion controls back with us. Okay, there we go. This should work now. There we go. Okay.
All right.
I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what. I mean, I don't know programmatically how the check for the eyes work, but I'm not quite sure what we were missing there that wasn't allowing us to do that.
Hey, more money. Link is very happy.
Link is very happy. So now we can progress further with our one small key. There's actually quite a few checks in this room. This room has 3 hidden rupees that we can collect with the beetle. So our first one will be over here up in this... Well, actually, hold on. Make sure that these keys don't annoy us first. Actually, since our health is low, it would probably be a good idea to save at this statue just in case something unfortunate happens. Maybe we'll go back to collecting things.
Gymnast, I gotta say, I love this very moody atmosphere you have going on in your room right now.
Oh yeah, I forgot to turn the light on, that's right.
Slowly disappearing as the sun goes down.
And then, of course, we'll get those moments where the screen flashes white and lights up my face for everyone to see. So nothing immediately useful in those rupee tunnels, unfortunately. We'll hit this switch next and get the check that's inside here. Interestingly, because this check right here that we're about to get is normally the beetle, the game expects you to use the beetle to get out, but if you don't have the beetle here in the randomizer, that would obviously be a bit of an issue. So the door that we use to get out of here is just going to sort of automatically unlock itself once we're finished here. Also, this is going to take a really long time with the practice sword. Uh-oh, thank good.
It's
Don't attack
fine.
me. Okay. Alright. He's finally dead.
Now, I am no sword fighting expert, but I'm pretty sure it is bad form to leave openings designed for Wii Remote motion control to give you an angled strike.
That is true, yes. I guess Demise was nice enough to just allow that for us in this game. Alright, so this next check around here is behind some iron bars. And we can actually see it. Once we get rid of these keys here. The practice sword is... Ooh, a bomb bag. Okay. Is a pretty useful item, so we probably do want to get that. However, I am getting vibes of a required double dip because the bomb bag is in here. Just logically, since the bomb bag does allow us to go through, or it does allow us to access the next part of Elden Volcano. Alright, so there's also another check that we can get on the other side of the dungeon, but it's pretty slow to get, so I'm going to see if we can potentially skip it here, since we do already have the last small key that we need. Ideally, if everything works out, I'll be able to logic out that that check is the map, which we don't need for anything, and then we will just be able to never go get it. Also realized that I did forget to get the one last freestanding rupee check in the tunnel, but I can get that as we go around here. Alright, so the fast strategy would be to hit this spider to the side and then jump past it, but we will be safe this time so that we do not potentially die.
Alright, so when is the randomizer fixed to make the beetle go 3 times as fast?
Well, there is actually, or the game does actually have an upgrade for the beetle called the Quick Beetle, which does make it fly really fast. And if we find the progressive beetle that I think was hinted at earlier, and we could see that potentially. Oh my god, the practice sword takes so long to defeat things with. I am desperately in need of another sword upgrade. Oh, the green rupee. I'm actually not sure in Rupee Sanity if the green rupee is unique anymore, but it did used to be unique.
We can think that that's the one and only Greg.
Greg himself, in the flesh.
God, I still love the teeter-tottering back and forth. It gets me every time, Gymnast. Every single time you go on a rope, I just laugh.
Alright, so there's only 2 more checks we can get here. There is a small chest near the boss door, and then there is the boss key chest itself.
What is preventing us?
My arrows again.
What is preventing us from just outright beating the boss right now?
So we could beat the boss right now if we had the boss key, but we still wouldn't be able to complete the dungeon because completing this dungeon requires that we skyward strike the goddess crest at the end, and
Right.
because we do not yet have the goddess sword, we can't do a skyward strike. Oh, well, there's the dungeon map. That's not what I wanted to see.
Hey, now we can find the boss room.
Yeah, it's true. Now we know where the boss room is exactly.
Yes. We were unsure before this.
Okay, there's the boss key. So we can go through here, and I think it would probably be in our best interest to, because we can still beat the boss, and we can still get the boss's heart container. Check. And there's also an additional check near where the at the end of Skyview, which is another one of those freestanding rupee checks that could potentially have something.
Come on,
Of course, doing
come
Girahim with the
on.
practice sword. This is also going to take forever because Girahim is damage based. So...
Yeah, hitting
You
it with
could
like a
be here
literal
for a
plastic
little
sword. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, still not done yet. Okay, that's it for phase 1. Now for like 15 cycles of phase 2. Oh my goodness, what is he doing?
He's being fabulous.
I also have to be careful here is that I don't run out of stamina at all.
Yeah, as soon as you run out of stamina, you're kind of stuck in this like gasping for air energy station until it fills all the way back up. So during that time, you're super, super vulnerable. So very important to not get into that state because, especially at health this low, your day can go south and not be so great very quickly.
Okay, well, we should be
like
fine
this right here.
He's
Yeah.
stretching at us. We got refilled on the stamina just in time. Well, I will take this opportunity to go turn the light on in my room.
Oh my God! There's an entire room there.
Yeah,
I thought it was
there's an
just you in the
entire
void.
room here. Sometimes that's what it feels like. But anyway. Alright, so this is one boss down, and we've basically done everything we can in this dungeon. Oh, actually, it turns out that Girahim was holding another sword. So now we can complete the dungeon.
Of course. It was there the whole time.
Oh, actually, this makes sense because I did forget to mention that I turned on the setting which makes the required dungeon boss heart containers into swords. So I shouldn't have been surprised that that was there. Oh, that is just a red rupee. We do not need that. But now we do have the ability to Skyward Strike.
Look, see, if you did not decide to go in there, you may have never gotten that sword.
Perhaps not. And the reward for completing the dungeon is a heart piece. That's basically a downgrade. Alright, so because we found the bomb bag inside Skyview Temple, there's actually 2 more checks that we can get in the main Farron Woods area. After we have a brief conversation with that Goron. We'll just be heading on back here. Making these hornets angry. Thankfully, hornets can be stopped by the power of the loading zone. Alright, so the first one is going to be up on the ledge where Erla is over here. It's behind these bombable rocks. I like to preserve my bombs if possible, so I'll just take the damage on this one.
And we have the one, the only. Okay.
The fire shield earrings.
Excellent.
So
A
the
fashion
fire shield
upgrade.
earrings. Exactly, the important fashion upgrade. The fire shield earrings will allow us to get inside the volcano summit area, so that we can survive the heat there. Oh, and I'll just pick up the heart container, why not? we'll travel back to the sky now.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've been up there.
Yeah, we had to complete a whole dungeon.
One of the three.
Yep, we are 1 out of 3 down now. I believe now I'm gonna go back to Eldin, because we still know that the Water Dragon scale is there somewhere. And we do have the ability to complete the Earth Temple now as well. One of the nice things about the randomizer is that we do have the option enabled to not have to complete the entirety, or to not have to find all 5 key pieces to get into the Earth Temple, because finding 5 more items to get into a single dungeon would take a while. So the Earth Temple is just open for us to go into at the moment. Let's see here. So there's some higher up freestanding rupees that may have been randomized to something else. One of them is a red rupee, and the other one is an adventure pouch upgrade. Oh boy. Now we can carry something else. Hopefully we find like a shield or something. That would probably be best.
Who needs a shield?
Alright, now it's time for one of the other most important moments of the seed here. Seeing if we can make Link run around in circles. And the answer is no. This is very unfortunate.
Is that a time save or just looks funny in the cutscene?
No, it just looks funny in the cutscene.
Dang.
I'm very sorry to all the Circle fans out there. Right, so there's another not very obvious hidden treasure chest in a wall right here that we can get. There's more gratitude crystals. Alright.
It's like, thank you for finding me. You have my gratitude.
A casual player finally found me. I bet the developer who put that there is so happy.
They're probably watching right now.
Exactly. Get rid of this guy. And there's actually another wall up here. This wall doesn't have a treasure chest in it, but it does have 2 freestanding rupees in it.
Yeah, I almost wonder if they kind of put these there so you accidentally find them. But then at the same time, there's like no enemies in that region that would encourage you to throw a bomb over there.
Yeah, I mean, there is like a very small, like, cracked wall texture on all of them, but it's very hard to, like, actually see, generally, so... I didn't know about any of those pretty much until the randomizer came out, so... Ah, wonderful, we got the Groose music finally. The drawing upon a magical wall reveals a rare treasure, and the goddess's final trial grants progressive beetle. I don't know if I like the look of that. Because there are some rupees in Rupee Sanity that are locked behind the quick beetle, and if that's the next progressive beetle that we can get, it might be a while until we can get that. Because that hint is specifically pointing us to the Skyloft Silent Realm, which requires that we have all 3 pieces of the Song of the Hero to logically get at least. Alright, so I believe our next course of action will probably just be to go to the Earth Temple right now, since we have to complete the dungeon anyway, and may as well see if we get anything good for it. I'll check this statue just to make sure we have it in case we have to come back here later. Alright, so interesting strategy at the beginning of Earth Temple here. We're actually turning the camera around and then running towards it so that we keep these platforms off camera at the beginning, since this will stall their lava cycle and allow us to essentially have like a much better platform cycle going forward. So we don't have to waste time waiting for them. And after I lower this drawbridge and skip the cutscene here by jumping over the lava, there is another rupee check we can get here. Actually, do I even remember where this is? I thought it was just up here, but maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. Oh no, there it is, that's right. It's a gold rupee. Okay. Guy's gonna try to attack us. We'll make sure he doesn't get in our way. Oh, that's right. There's no cutscene here. Oh, okay. Good aim. Okay. Not sure where that slingshot pellet was going. So there's another small cutscene skip we can do here by shooting one of the Lizalfos with a slingshot pellet. It skips the cutscene where the Lizalfos like try to walk forward and basically intimidate Link a little bit. Alright. And then this is normally the mini-boss fight for the bomb bag, but we already have the bomb bag, so it's gotta be something different this time. Actually, it'd be pretty funny if this check was the small bomb bag that's in the item pool, which is just like an extra bomb bag you can get to increase your bomb capacity. But it is a gold rupee. I mean, I guess we could buy a small bomb bag with that money, but that would kind of just be a waste of time. A dusk relic from our friend Led over here. Alright, so now we're actually going to do a little bit of glitching. We're going to be doing a glitch known as Back in Time. Or actually, I'm actually not sure if it's worth it to do Back in Time here, because there is one freestanding rupee check that we would kind of skip by doing that. So I think we'll probably do this somewhat of the regular way. Go get these checks first. Oh, I was a little too close there. So this room, unfortunately, we just kind of have to wait around in because this platform cycle is kind of slow. Have some fun killing that Bokoblin while we wait, I guess. And to get to the Earth Temple map chest right here. We're still looking for the Earth Temple boss key, which in-game is called the Dragon Sculpture, but we just refer to it as the Earth Temple boss key. Okay, so map chest. Now we'll take the boulder over here. Try to kill this key so it doesn't get in our way. Get these 2 boulder room checks. More red rupees. Starting to think that the Earth Temple's not going to have anything useful, is the vibe that I'm getting. Other than the sword at the end, of course, which we need, but... so far, not looking too good. There is one check at the beginning of the dungeon that we couldn't get because we do not have the Magma Mitts still. Oh, okay, the Life Tree Fruit. That's not immediately useful, but that does get us a check later on when we have both the claw shots and the ability to access the Lanayru Desert. But probably still a little bit of a ways off. Instead, we'll just go do the boulder rolling section right here. There are multiple ways that we can skip this section, but again, because we have Rupee Sanity enabled, there is actually a rupee that we want to get over here. believe we will want to get rid of these keys. And then the rupee is located inside of this dragon mouth right here. Normally it's a silver rupee in the base game. But this time it is gratitude crystals. Alright. Get 5 more of those. Oh, kind of wanted that heart, but oh well. Sure, we do not get hit by the spume fireball. And then this is why the beetle is logically required for this section. Aside from the 1 rupee that we wanted to get. Usually in randomizer races, we can skip needing the beetle for the Earth Temple due to a trick that we can use called the Kisi, which allows us to hit one of the ropes at the beginning of the dungeon without the beetle, which would normally be needed. And then we can do some back in time glitches to skip having to cut these ropes. Unfortunately, it looks like we will be having to wait out the lava cycle here, so this is a good opportunity for me to drink some water. Remember to stay hydrated, folks. Alright, there's the heart, thank you. Alright, so there aren't very many checks left here. There's 1 chest to our left. Once we get around this corner, which we'll be able to get. Still looking for that boss key mostly, and we haven't found the dungeon map either. Oh, okay, there's the Amber Tablet. So there actually was something useful here in Earth Temple. That opens up the Lanayru region for us, which is obviously important. See if I can do peg skip here. Oh, no, not quite. Try that again. Basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to run into... Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, no.
Oh, well. I kind of had a bit of a Skyward Sword HD muscle memory moment there. I tried to press the A button to do a jump attack, but that's not something you can do in this game because that's Skyward Sword HD only. I'll just have to go push in the other peg. Make sure this keys doesn't bother us.
That is definitely a good simulation of how physics actually works right there.
Exactly, yes. Zelda games, of course, are known for their absolutely impeccable physics.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Mark the Amber Tablet and mark that we have some more gratitude crystals here. Hopefully... Excuse me. Hopefully the boss key will just be in the boss key chest. Because if not, then we will have to, unfortunately, do a walk of shame back here later. Once we have the digging mitts. So, interesting little strat right here. Normally, the game wants you to, like, blow up a section to give, like, a bit of a rest area for climbing this slope. But if we just repeatedly press the A button over and over again, we can do this technique called stutter sprinting, which allows us to make it all the way up the slope without needing that little rest area. I also forgot that that cutscene that I tried to roll into was removed from the randomizer, so we just ran out of stamina.
Autopilot is a heck of a thing.
It really is, yeah. And the thing is, I even remembered earlier in the dungeon, I was like, remember, that cutscene is removed, don't roll into it, and I still rolled into it anyway, so. Hey, alright, we did get the boss key. And we didn't get the dungeon map, so I know that that 1 chest that we didn't get is the dungeon map. And we will not have to go back and get it. I'll also save right here just in case anything bad happens during the Scaldera fight.
Yeah, hang on, let me just run from this boulder, but oh, there's a save. Okay, we'll stop there. Excellent.
Yep. Let's see. So other than the Amber Tablet, we haven't really found any items for a while here. We will get the sword upgrade for beating Skaldera, but hopefully we'll find something in Lanayru Desert then.
So we're about an hour in. So happy 1 hour mark, Gymnast.
Thank you.
I want to do a quick go mode check. What are we looking for still?
We are still looking for... actually, let's see. What are we looking for? Oh, we're looking for the 3 pieces of the Triforce. It's the big thing still. Because we do have the harp. We found the harp pretty early on. We do know that we have 2 more sword upgrades. One at the end here of Earth Temple and the other at the end of the Lanayru Mining Facility. Also, shoutouts to Groose music during this boss fight. Let's see. Then we also know that one of our swords is in Lanayru Desert. So I believe it's just those 3 pieces of the Triforce that we're ultimately missing, but of course they could be locked behind other items that we need. I can do this. Okay, very nice. Alright, nice. That was the optimal Skaldera strat for the sword that I have.
So, this Groose music, it's so wonderful. It fits the character, like, impeccably well. And I gotta ask you, the wonderful GDQ audience, and those on YouTube watching the VOD, feel free to leave a comment about this as well. But who is your favorite, and I guess, Gymnast, you can answer this as well, who is your favorite secondary non-player character in the series, and why is it Groose?
I mean, he's got the best hair of anyone in the series, I think. I don't think there's any doubts there. Yeah.
Yeah, I love your Groose emote, by the way. Be sure to go over and follow twitch.tv/gymnast86, our wonderful runner here today, giving us an excellent showcase of Skyward Sword Rando that unfortunately has me wanting to play it, which is never good, because that's another thing I can get addicted to.
Yeah, Zelda randomizers can be kind of addicting when you first start out with them. That is definitely a feeling that I have experienced.
You finish one, it's 2 a.m., it's like, but just one more.
But we could do one more, yeah. Alright. Now that we are finished with the Earth Temple, we can move along here with our progression of Eldin. We will probably be heading over to the Volcano Summit next, because there are a few things we can get there. We will... Actually, I guess I could have tried... Well, there's a trick I could have tried to do back there to save like 10 seconds, but it probably wouldn't have gone very well. Instead, we will do things the normal, boring way.
I do have a question from chat about why you jump sideways when you are using the Skyward Strike. I guess on a pedestal.
Yes.
What's going on there?
That is for the very important swag points that we do have to accumulate during the run. But yeah, the side hop after the Skyward Strike effectively does nothing. It's just because there's really nothing else to do while you're just waiting for the Skyward Strike to travel.
I love it.
Nice. We got this first chest, and then we got the alcove chest over here. Also, just another note, you probably noticed that I haven't been collecting any goddess cubes. The goddess cube chests are not turned on with these settings that we have here, because otherwise that's just another way that the seed would become unbearably long, which we do not want. Okay, so I have to go over here first, actually. So there aren't any more checks that I can get in Volcano Summit, but there is a hint stone that I can get to see if it'll tell us anything useful. It does require me to quench this thirsty boy over here. That is the official name, the thirsty boy, by the way.
Everybody watching, remember to hydrate.
Okay, well, the Amber Tablet can be found in the Earth Temple. We knew that already. Oh, and of course, the hintstone in Volcano Summit tells us that Volcano Summit is useless. So,
yes.
The Randomizer classic.
The taunting hintstone, as they call it, is like, oh, it'd be so fortunate if you knew this before you came all the way up here. But here, it's like he doesn't know. I just picture him laughing to the other hintstones. He doesn't know.
True. I mean, at least that means we won't have to come back here for any of the other checks, which is nice. Alright, well, this is basically it for Elden Volcano. Unfortunately, we still do not have that Water Dragon scale that I was hoping we would get. Because it must mean that the Water Dragon scale is actually locked behind, what's it called? It's probably locked, or it has to be locked behind the digging mitts on one of these dig spots, I imagine. Actually, there is a glitch that we can do to dig up one of the dig spots without the digging mitts, which I think I'm gonna try right here. Since we didn't get to see Back in Time earlier in the Earth Temple, it would be cool to show it off now. So first things first, we're gonna save the game. And then we are going to go kill Link via bomb explosions and lava.
Oh, that sounds like a way to go.
Exactly. And we will be doing a trick known as Back in Time right here. Okay? So Back in Time is where we continue on the game over screen and then immediately reset the game right here, just like this. This is going to drop Link into the title screen, except it's kind of going to drop us in a playable state on the title screen, on Skyleft here. So we can run around, open doors, do all that kind of stuff. And we're going to be doing a complicated trick here known as Reverse Bit Magic. Very cool name, I know. So with Reverse Bit Magic, what we're going to do is we're going to be starting our file right before we perform a specific action. And as we do that, the flag associated with that action is going to get applied to our file, but it's going to get applied in the wrong region because we're essentially putting a Skyloft flag onto the Elden Volcano map. And this is going to immediately give Link an item, which is a piece of the Triforce, so I guess it was actually good that we did that, even though it's not the Water Dragon scale. And the flag that we set here in Elden Volcano is the flag that says Link has dug up one of those dig spots that we need the digging mitts for, right?
Right.
So because that flag is set, Link is like, oh, we dug up that spot, and he just immediately gets the item for it, which is very convenient.
All right. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. Yes, so that specific use of the Reverse Bit Magic glitch is attributed to a community member named Raid Spinal. So Raid would be proud that we've done that here today, and that it led to a useful item. Though I'm not sure Raid himself has ever actually gotten a useful item from it, so sorry again, Raid.
So how was the Back in Time glitch found? Was that just something that happened randomly, or...?
Yeah, so this is actually an interesting story. So, the Back in Time glitch was originally found in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess in 2007, right? So, many years before Skyward Sword came out. But then it was also accidentally found in Skyward Sword about a month after the game came out, when a player was practicing one of the mini-boss fights in the game, the Sandship mini-boss fight, Skirvo. This player was practicing the mini-boss fight, and the shield is pretty important for that mini-boss fight, so anytime that they lost their shield during the fight while they were practicing it, they had to reset the game in order to get their shield back, right?
Right.
But sometimes they would also die, and when they died, they just continued and, tried to go through the fight again. But one time, they lost their shields, and then they immediately died right afterwards. So because they died, they were like, oh, I have to continue to, try the fight again. But after they pressed continue, they realized, oh wait, I lost my shield. So they pressed continue, and then reset the game right afterwards. which is how you trigger back in time, and then they fell into the title screen and were very confused for a moment.
I could picture it happening. It's like, I found it. It's here. That's wonderful. Thanks for the story. Knew this existed. I had no idea. It was just found seemingly randomly.
We got the little jump to save 1 second. Yeah, so we're going through the Lanayru mines here. Both the Lanayru mines and the Lanayru caves provide access to the main Lanayru desert, but the caves do require the claw shots to go through, which we do not have yet, so we are forced to go through the mines. Oh, and there's... actually, I don't think that's the sword that was hinted earlier. Because the sword that we had that was hinted earlier was in the main Lanayru desert. It wasn't hinted at being in Lanayru mines, I don't think. Means that we might actually be able to just get the Master Sword here in Lanayru desert if we're lucky enough. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a fancy technique here called a brake slide. We're going to slide quickly through the quicksand. Obviously, you're not supposed to be able to have that much speed in quicksand, but with brake sliding, Link's speed actually turns into a negative value while he's brake sliding, and quicksand in this game is not programmed to, like, decrease your speed if it's negative, right? It's only programmed to check to see if your speed is above a certain value, and if it is, it clamps it down back to that value. So, by making Link's speed negative, we can sort of get around that speed check.
But if you're negative speed, obviously that means to be going backwards. What's going on?
Well, see, Link is actually, like, back shuffling when he's doing a brake slide. You just don't quite see it. So, I mean, like, I can actually do it here, outside of the quicksand. And you'll see that, like...
Oh, yeah, yeah. He's just back
yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible. What a magical game.
So I realized that I did actually forget to talk to an NPC earlier. That I probably should have talked to, because there's a side quest item here that we need to get for him. And just in case he has something, I think it would actually be a good idea to just leave and quickly talk to him and then come back so that we make sure we don't forget that. Because he is, like, right next to the pillar of light here, so we can easily come back down right away. Let's see, mark more things off on the tracker here. I don't think we got anything in the mines, at least nothing, except for the sword, which we got, so now we have the Goddess White Sword.
Yeah, sword's pretty solid. I'm curious how much longer a seed would be if he had to do base bird speed throughout all of Skyward.
Oh yeah, that would... Well, it probably wouldn't ultimately add too much time, but it would probably be something along the order of, like, I don't know, 10 minutes, I would say. Obviously, it depends on how much you actually have to fly, but generally we do fly a lot. Alright, so now we talk to our wonderful friend Dodo, and we can retrieve his party wheel. And the reason I also think, or the reason I did remember this, is because in a practice seed I did earlier today, Dodo did actually have the claw shots. So maybe he'll have the claw shots again. That would actually be very useful. Alright. So, just climb or cling along the edge of this cliff face here, and we can make our way over to the party wheel. And we can call Scrapper back to come pick up the party wheel for us. This is also another great time to hydrate. Would recommend that for everybody.
You heard the man. Get to it. Party wheel, the official name of this item, correct?
Exactly. Also, Scrapper here is rocking the imprisoned music, so I guess he's the villain of this seed.
I'm ready for the boss Rando, coupled with regular NPCs being the boss. Like, oh, we're gonna fight Demise, or the giant's marshmallow toad monstrosity Demise is gonna come up, and oh nope, it's just a quick you or whatever.
Yeah.
Slowly chasing you up
funny.
around, right?
Unfortunately, randomizing enemies in Zelda games tends to come with some problems just because enemies usually have some kind of hard-coded data with where they spawn and like their AI behavior and stuff, so. But one day, I believe.
I know it works with some finesse required in the 2D Zelda games where things were obviously a lot simpler. As soon as you add that third dimension, whew, it's complicated.
Yeah. I'm almost out of bombs here. I guess this isn't too bad. Because I can get a bomb refill pretty soon. Thankfully, they designed the Lanayru region, you know, with the fact that you have the bomb bag in mind, so they do, or there are just, you know, natural bomb drops here and there in the Lanayru region.
As we're cleaning this area up, I want to remind everybody that your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered here on the GDQ Twitch channel help support Games Done Quick, both with the hotfix and with AGDQ 2023 costs. So please consider subscribing if you enjoy the daily GDQ content. It is greatly appreciated. Allows us to, you know, keep shows like this one going and having wonderful guests like Gymnast here showcasing Skyward Sword for the first time ever. The Randomizer. Skyward Sword, of course, has been on Games Done Quick quite frequently in the past, but yeah, first time we're seeing the Rando, and I'm having a great time. So, chat, I hope you are enjoying this run as well. As for a break sliding through all the sands, love it. God, just the animation gets me every time.
Yeah, so even though we did like a long break slide there to get over to this side of the desert, this actually is still in logic. The proper way to get over here would be to use the hook beetle to go on this like long outwardly path, but that takes a while, so much faster to just break slide past everything. Do another break slide in here as soon as our stamina is refilled. Oh, didn't quite do it that time. A little bit off on the control stick. Okay, we still made it. So there are actually 5 whole checks in here.
No way. That's so many.
Oh, that shoe just got yeeted into the void. That was interesting. Never seen that one before. A Rupor. Not what I signed up for. So because we have the hook beetle, we can get the last 2 checks in here. Normally when you come in here for the first time, you usually do not have the hook beetle, so you're not able to get those 2 chests that are in the back, which require bringing over this Ampelus shell. Oh, wait, get in there. There we go. So we actually don't have to input our sword into each of the node sections here. We have the settings set so that we just have to put our sword into the main node itself, and that will be good enough for raising the Lanayru mining facility.
Nice little quality
But
of life
obviously we
change.
still want to get in here for the checks. So.
Now, Gymnast, all season long, I've been noticing you alternating between like rolling in some sections or just straight up running in some sections, like right now. When is it best to roll? When is it best to run? Does it have to do with like managing your stamina gauge? You would prefer one over the other?
Well, yeah, so generally every roll that you do will save about 1 frame over sprinting. But rolling does use more stamina than sprinting does, so we generally will only roll if we have the extra stamina to do it, otherwise we just want to sprint, pretty much.
Imagine you've played this enough where you know like the areas. Okay, we're sprinting in this room, in this section, we're rolling in this section. You just have it down.
Yeah. We also only refill a quarter of the stamina meter before sprinting again, generally, because the last quarter of the stamina meter, even though it refills just as fast as the first 3 quarters, but it only gets used twice, or it gets used only half as much when you're using the stamina in that quarter. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal on the stamina with the last quarter there. And then, of course, we want to, use up the last bit of our stamina rolling into things like cutscenes or opening up chests and stuff. Alright, so here we're actually going to do a death warp, just because running back through that tunnel and through the quicksand is kind of slow, so...
Oh no, Link.
We'll get to listen to this lovely randomized choir music that's not very appropriate for a game over.
I love randomized music so much. I kind of alternate between like turning it on like vanilla versus just having it full random. There's always some great opportunities where just like the music is so out of touch with what's actually happening that it just turns into a comedy.
I think my favorite randomized music that I've heard in a Zelda randomizer is the Ocarina of Time minigame music, like that little the little minigame fanfare that plays. One time played for me as Dead Hand appeared in the Shadow Temple. Dead Hand appears and it's like, oh, look at this fun minigame we're about to play. Like, this is very much not appropriate, but alright. Thanks, Randomizer.
Yeah, the minigame music always goes well with bosses, just in terms of the tonal discrepancy. Likewise, boss music going through in the minigames, making them way more stressful than they otherwise would be.
True.
I'm still pulling for that tumbleweed. Come on.
That's true. We haven't found the tumbleweed yet.
Yeah. Honestly, if the sea's going too fast, I may send you on a hunt. Not for the Triforce, but
tumbleweed
for the tumbleweed. That could be literally anywhere in this game.
True. So we finally have 30 gratitude crystals now.
Yeah, but if you were just joining us, 30 gratitude crystals, that opens 2 checks, if I remember correctly.
Yep, that is correct.
Underneath Skyward.
Two more chests in here. Oh, okay, yeah, so there's the sword that we got hinted earlier.
All right.
So we will be finishing this run with the true Master Sword instead of just the regular base Master Sword, which is always nice. True Master Sword does make the Horde fight at the end of the game much easier. Now we will open up the linear mining facility just after we check this statue right here.
Now, in the vanilla game, there's like, I forget, I lost track of how many times you have to do this, but you have to like do that, chain demise or whatever escape sequence where you're like shooting the marshmallow toes and all of that. Is that completely removed in Randomizer, just having to do that sequence?
Yeah, any of the imprisoned fights.
The imprisoned, yes.
Also
yes.
Yeah, the first and third imprisoned fights are currently completely gone. You can optionally enable the second one if you want to, but we pretty much always skip that for races and such. We will not be seeing any marshmallow toes today.
Yeah, I remember it looked so threatening in the trailers of this game when it came out. I was like, oh gosh, this is like a horrifying creature. And even in the game, it comes out, and then you see the toes, and like every time I would just like bust up laughing at the little marshmallow toes.
Yeah, it can be a little hard to take seriously, especially with how quickly we defeat the imprisoned in a speed run, but I'm also going to curse the image of the imprisoned in your head, because if you actually take a good look at the entire imprisoned's body, it does kind of just look like an Among Us character.
Oh no, why? Oh,
So,
oh.
you know.
You're right. I hate that you're right. I was trying to interrupt you and say, no, please don't do this to me, but now the damage has been done.
Alright. Into the mining facility. So, the mining facility logically is almost entirely locked behind the hook beetle, but we do have the hook beetle, so logically we can do pretty much everything here, because we also have the gust bellows. And I may be having a moment of seed bleed here, but I forget if it was this seed that said there was a hint for the, a progressive beetle in the neighbor mining facility, or if that was one that I previously did, so... There might be a progressive beetle here, there might not be. If there is, that'll be nice, because then we'll have the quick beetle.
Now, is the quick beetle required for anything, or is it just a nice to have with how often we have to use the beetle?
So the quick beetle is required for a select few rupee sanity checks that are like way kind of out of bounds in some areas, but we haven't run into any of those checks yet, because I'm pretty sure those are all in Sandsea and require us to have the claw shots to get to. So, it could be required, for all I know. But so far, not yet.
Those of you just joining us, reminder, you are watching Game Masters right here on twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick, part of the GDQ Hotfix, where we focus on high-level speedruns, as well as all the speedrunning adjacent stuff, like a randomizer right here with Skyward Sword Rando. Jim is so far crushing it. We're only an hour and a half in so far, and I feel like we've done so much.
It's true, we have done a lot, but there still could be so much more that we have to do, depending on where those last pieces of the Triforce are. And of course, depending on where the Tumbleweed is, because as we know, that's very important to get.
Absolutely. I am calling making an executive decision here that the Tumbleweed is an additional Triforce piece with this seed exclusively. Not really, but, you know, I'm just hoping. If it happens, I say there it is. We're go mode.
I believe there have been some jokes about adding an additional setting for Tumbleweed Hunt and the Randomizer. So maybe we'll see that someday. Maybe next time on April 1st we can, Oh. Wasn't expecting to get hit by that, but thankfully it kind of worked out. Alright, the dungeon's small key, that's good to get early on. Oops. Wasn't expecting to fall down there. Link usually grabs the edge of the platform, so I was kind of surprised by that.
Chat brings up a good point, where, the Green Rupee has a wonderful nickname called Greg.
Yep.
But does the Tumbleweed have a nickname, Gems? If not, can we just make the nickname right now?
I don't believe it has a nickname, no. It's just the Tumbleweed.
The Tumbleweed. I'm trying to think of what it could be. I'm going to spend like the next 10 minutes trying to come up with a good name for it.
I guess I could always call it Timber. Timber the Tumbleweed.
Timber the Tumbleweed. That's actually pretty good. I like it. Yeah, or just bring it down to Tim. Short for Timber. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tim. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's great. It's like, so the full name is Timber Tumbleweed. Maybe we can get a middle name in there. Tim for shorts. There we go. Oh no, so yeah, Timber, first name, Tumble, middle name, Weed, last name. We're set. We're done. Book it, write it down. Henceforth, in Skyward Sword Rando, giving all the authority I have to make this official, i.e. none. Timber the Tumbleweed. Let's go.
Okay, so we did also find the boss key. Ah, the digging mitts. Okay. already, which is nice. And those digging mitts probably are going to lead us to the water dragon scale that we so desperately want. Once we get out of the linear mining facility here.
I do like how that was
But
like one of the first hints we read. We still haven't collected it.
Alright, so getting the small key early means that we can do a pretty nice route here for the rest of the mining facility. We can just go back in here and then use the small key without really having to backtrack at all, which is nice. Make our way past these frokes. And use our own bombs for the hook beetle strats here. Much faster than trying to use the bomb flowers that the game normally provides.
Got no time for that.
And then I always love using the bow in this dungeon. Because it makes me feel really powerful when I shoot these time shift stones, at least when I hit them. When I miss them, I just kind of feel like an idiot. But because normally the strat we use for speedruns is we use the slingshot here, and we have to do this like really precise slingshot aiming to hit those time shift stones. But using the bow, it's just like, haha, we've conquered you.
Gosh, I love that using the cutscene, like getting the jump off before that. Ooh, nice stuff. Yeah, casually, I just adored this dungeon. I thought the time mechanic was like super fun and interesting, just seeing how it goes through everything. Again, what it once
Yeah, I
was.
definitely agree. Alright, making our way over to what is normally the Gust Bellows room. Interestingly, this dungeon does not have a mini-boss to get the mid-dungeon item, unlike all the other dungeons in this game.
Yeah, I was stuck back in time and never made it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, really, it was just the maid who was like, I don't want to, vacuum up all this dust anymore. Someone, whoever else comes in here, I quit. I'm through. Have fun.
Yeah, this place doesn't seem like it has very good working conditions.
No, definitely not OSHA approved.
Definitely not.
It's just unsanitary as well. You don't let this much dust pile up.
Exactly. Our monster horn. Alright, so normally after getting the Gust Bellows chest, we usually like to death warp. Oh wait, that's... Okay, I don't think I ever realized that that's actually 2 rock piles right there. I always thought it was just 1, but apparently not.
Well, now you know.
Alright. We do learn something new every day.
Although we're playing Skyward Sword Rando here, you are also quite the accomplished, base game Skyward Sword speedrunner as well.
Oh, there's our second piece of the Triforce.
Are you working
Also,
on
yes,
any
that
other
is true.
categories?
Well, I did just recently get a new record in Skyward Sword HD any percent.
All right.
I'm not sure if I'm going to continue playing that or not, or if I'm going to move on to something else. I guess we'll find out by the next time I stream, which will be tomorrow. With whatever I decide to do.
And whatever it may be sure to go and follow our wonderful runner here at twitch.tv/gymnast86.
Also, speaking of that maid, I guess she also left the rattle in here. Was fed up with having to deal with the baby. Now we get to the crawl space maze. This is one of the only places in the run where it's actually faster to run out of stamina intentionally and still like move around. So we have to press down the switch below the sand pile here. Thankfully we just already know where it is. And there's a strat we can do here to backflip over these spikes to get to the chest that's over here. Otherwise, you have to go through kind of an annoying maze to get to this chest. Just backflip on over. Make our way to the last part of the dungeon. Normally, I would probably skip the Armos room at the end here, but I think I'm going to do it this time just because it does have a Song of the Hero song part, which we might need to get the Quick Beetle, because I'm pretty sure that there is not another Quick Beetle in here. So before we go fight the boss, we will go get the last 2 checks, and then thankfully because there's a save statue here, we can just death warp back once we get those chests. Also going to do a bit of an unintended strategy here. We can actually ride this minecart, even though we're not supposed to be able to ride it, by placing down a bomb and then jump slashing just up onto the edge of it, and then let the bomb explosion activate the minecart and
that's
begin
cool.
going across. Another great opportunity to hydrate, by the way.
All built in. So normally you're supposed to like get on a different platform and take it along, but you're like, nah, I'm good.
Now, if you want to be really risky, you can try to do a side hop here onto that platform to the right, but then you risk just kind of falling down and having to do this entire thing over again. So not generally recommended.
I was going to tell you to do it, but you got past it too quickly.
There's one small chest at the end of this walkway here. It has money that we don't need and that we can't hold. At least it's not like Twilight Princess where Link will just put the money back in the chest. I'm glad that Nintendo realized that that was not a thing that needed to be carried over into Skyward Sword. Get the bomb drop in the barrel there. This is definitely the longest check in the entire dungeon, which normally would be for the boss key in the base game, so it makes sense that it's the longest check. Requires knocking down a lot of platforms and using a lot of bombs. And moving a lot of platforms. Oh, come on, there we go. And avoiding this guy. Well, actually, I'd probably want to get hit by that guy just because of how much health I have. If we can take a hit here. So here there's a bit of a weird strategy where we can just kind of ram a bomb into these fallable platforms right here, and we will actually end up hitting the switch behind the platform just due to the explosion radius of the bomb. As long as we hit them in the right order, the game will be satisfied and will open up the gate to where the boss key chest is. And then we can just void out here to respawn back at the platform without having to use the gust bellows to get back over. Too quick, more Armos. Actually, ow, was a little too late there, but I wanted to take some damage. Oh, okay. And yep, just as we expected, the second piece of the Song of the Hero right there. We still gotta find one more of those if we want to get the quick beetle, I believe.
They're really making you work for it, this seed.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, there are still quite a lot of checks left in the seed, even though there's only one more item that we need to logically complete the seed, which is the last Triforce piece. But because we don't have the claw shots still, there's not very much of the seed that's actually opened up, because the claw shots actually opens up quite a lot of the game world in Skyward Sword. So once we find those claw shots, we're pretty limited on where we can search. Also, this is some nice minigame music for this tense boss fight right here.
Yeah, I love we were just talking about the minigame music being great for bosses. Here we go. Exhibit A.
My goodness. Having the longer sword is actually kind of annoying for this fight specifically, because it means that the sword tends to bonk on Moldarak's claws more. Moldarak. Okay. Just 4 stabs, and Moldarak is dead.
GG.
And it is now time for the longest cutscene, I'm pretty sure in the game, actually, that does not require any input.
Okay, well, this seems like a good opportunity for you to talk about your upcoming GDQ 2023 Skyward Sword run.
Ah, yeah, that's true. So, for those of you who don't know, I will be running Skyward Sword all dungeons at GDQ 2023. It's about a 3-hour-long run that beats the game's, or that goes through the game's 7 dungeons. Of course, in speedrun style, so there are many glitches and skips that we will use in that category. I believe on the schedule it is currently down for Thursday. What would that be? The 12th, I think? Thursday, January 12th. So if you want to check that out, I would definitely recommend putting that on the calendar for yourself.
Yeah, I realize it may be surprising that Gymnast also knows Skyward Sword speedruns, I know. In fact, it's pretty good with that. Doesn't have the world record or anything in all dungeons. Nah.
I mean, to be fair, not a whole lot of people have run all dungeons. All dungeons actually has, I think it's honestly one of the harder routes in Skyward Sword speedrun history. There are some pretty tricky tricks. Also, that's a mouthful. Copyrighted phrase there. Tricky tricks. Yeah. The hardest trick is actually right at the very end of the run, unironically. So. Oh boy, the second slingshot. Now we have the scatter shot.
Hey.
Alright, so we have now beaten the 3 dungeons that we are required to beat for the seed. So we beat Skyview, Earth Temple, and Linear Mining Facilities. So, see what our hints here. Old Hermit's Home rewards Rupor. And, okay, reuniting two beetles is also another progressive beetle. Unfortunately, we cannot reunite the two beetles yet. Because we do not have the Horned Colossus beetle, which is the second beetle that is referring to there. And so where do we want to go next? Oh yeah, we should probably return the party wheel to Dodo that we got a while back.
Then the party can really begin.
Exactly. I bet it's gonna have a Rupor. That's my guess. It also apparently has scary imprisoned music. No, this isn't imprisoned music. This is scary Silent Realm music, so I'm not sure what Dodo is hiding with this party wheel here. I don't know if I want to be a part of this party anymore.
Oh, it's going to be the party of a lifetime. You can look at this phase. What is not to trust about this phase?
The bug net. The bug net, classically useless item in Randomizer for the most part. Oh yeah, I don't know if you were able to hear it, but he also had some scary fanfare music as he was smiling there. And I don't know if I like scary fanfare music with smiling clowns.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, chat, you're not scared, right? Yeah, this is a very trustworthy individual. Is there to help us out on our quest.
Now that we have the progressive mitts, though, we can actually dig up some of these dig spots to find things. So we got 3 dig spots around here, which will have things, like, you know, Rupors. And we also have access to another hint stone, which will hopefully tell us something here. Okay, the hint stone says we need to go to Elven Volcano. Thank you very much, hint stone. And a junk hint. All right. Very useful information right there. And spot as we knock over this tower. A blue rupee to counteract the Rupor.
When you get a Rupor, where does the money go? Like, is it just like a magnet effect, just reaches into your wallet and just disintegrates whatever it touches? You know, I've been thinking about this way too much, about the physical mechanics of a Rupor.
I mean, I imagine it has to be something like that, yeah. Alright, there's the water dragon scale that we were searching for. Hopefully we don't get curb stomped by the Bokoblin here. Oh. Okay, we did, but we survived, so it's okay.
They were just welcoming you to the party. Here we go.
Yeah.
And we'll like, Link didn't bring any drinks or a snack plate. Get them.
That reminds me of like the typo in the group chat. Get them meme.
I like this theory
lovely
from chat.
sequence again.
Matter, antimatter, annihilation, when the Rupor comes in contact with the rupee.
Oh yeah, it's also a possibility.
Yeah. And Link's wallet is so powerful, it contains that much of an annihilation. Because that much antimatter, you know, that 1 Rupor worth, I think it's pretty big. That would be like the energy of like a star or something for a couple seconds being contained within that wallet. So whoever manufactured Link's extra big wallet, very, very high quality stuff. And now my favorite part of the game, surfing.
Gonna slide on down in here. So there is a dig spot that's over here to our left, but that's actually the dig spot that we dug up earlier with the back in time glitch, so it's already done.
Yeah, I do appreciate that back in time glitch, all that mess that you went through was to check a check in the end. It wasn't really to skip too much. It wasn't to skip a dungeon. It's like, we're going to do this one check right here with this convoluted setup that, rando everybody. That's just rando things.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that specific instance of back in time is only ever useful in rando. Oh, another hard container. That was kind of good. I was getting a bit low on health. Pick up some more bombs here. It does not appear that the last piece of the Triforce was in Elden, though. I imagine the hint that we got about doing Elden Volcano was probably in reference to that Triforce piece. But that's just a guess. We can also complete the Magma Turf now, though, since we do have digging mitts. Be heading on back down into here. Get these arrows. Sword calibration is way off at the moment. Fix that a little bit.
Just Wii remote things.
Exactly.
Speaking of the Wii remotes, this is something like I began to notice way more after, like HD consoles became a thing and all that. And that is the size of the UI that you see. So I remember around this time when the PlayStation 3 and 360 came out, the HD versions of a lot of games had, like, at the time, really small text, because there's still a lot of people on CRTs and like low resolution screens. You just literally could not read the interface. And like now that everybody has an HD TV, like it looks great. Like stuff like the Wii was designed for a CRT TV, and the interface is just massively huge by today's standards. So just the entire right side of the screen, left side of the screen, it's so big, it's so extra.
Yeah, I mean, for speedruns, it's optimal to just leave it like that. So, UI for speedruns, not looking the best, but if you really want to waste about 5 seconds, you can turn it off.
Absolutely not, no.
Well, that is pretty much all we can do in Elden here. The only thing that we might have to do later is if we need to come back for the, what's it called? For the trial gate, in case, like, the piece of the Triforce is behind the Elden trial gate. Now that we have the Water Dragon scale, we can indeed go back to Lake Floria to get whatever item the game has required us to get over there.
I'm excited. What do you think it's going to be?
Well, there's a number of things. It could be the claw shots. That would be pretty big. It could just simply be the last piece of the Triforce, which would also be big. Unfortunately, there's not a great chance that it would be the tumbleweed because the hints do not point to the tumbleweed.
Dang it. You had my hopes up, Gymnast. I was like, yes.
I know,
yes.
I'm sorry.
Timber, aka Tim or Timmy, the tumbleweed. You're not going to forget that now, so I need you to make it official for me.
I will do my best to indoctrinate Tim the Tumbleweed into the Skyward Sword Randomizer history. We're also kind of doing Lake Floria backwards, which is not really what you're supposed to do, so coming up in just a moment we will be going through a rock backwards, which normally you're supposed to blow up. And we will actually blow it up to, like, retread through the path that the rock wants us to take, but it's faster to go through Lake Floria this way, I'm pretty sure, to get the remaining checks that are here. Lake Floria is also one of the reasons that I like the Rupee Sanity setting in Skyward Sword Randomizer, because it makes Lake Floria a much better place to go to, since it adds, like 5 checks to Lake Floria, whereas normally Lake Floria only has 3 chests, and that's about it. Oh, and okay, yeah, there is the piece of the Triforce. So this seed under like a race setting would actually be like not too bad. Especially considering that we never found the claw shots. We could just beat the seed right now without the claw shots, but obviously we still have to find the tumbleweed, so that's not an option.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
Alright, so a lot of these checks here are behind these rocks that we have to use these ropes to get rid of.
Now, let's see here. We got a red rupee and an amber relic. What else we got here?
Oh, there's the claw shots.
Well, that's how convenient is that? Wow. There we go.
And then we got 2 last checks behind this rock. Ah, the spiral charge. Okay. If Link wants to pick it up, that is. There we go. Alright, now that we got all these checks, we can go back the way that the game wants us to.
They're supposed to just load
we
it.
also, yeah, that room was actually loaded. But we also cannot actually collect any of those items until we land up on land here.
Got claw shots.
We got spiral charge, and we also got a gold rupee that we're not going to use. And now we can leave. Alright, so the hunt for the tumbleweed has officially begun. Because we have everything else that's necessary to beat the game, but... Oh, well, I guess, I don't know if we'll really be able to find the tumbleweed. We should still try, of course.
Yeah, I don't think we should go through.
Yeah, the thing about the tumbleweed is it could literally be anywhere, right? It could be on some goddess cube chest, right, that we wouldn't be able to get.
So the first thing we'll check is what would I think be perhaps one of the certified worst spots for something to be,
Which would be back in the Skyview Temple. There is one check in here that requires the digging mitts to be able to get, which we did not have the first time through, so... We'll go back and see what it is.
Yes, I remember this room.
And because we have the claw shots now, if the calibration wants to cooperate, we can claw shot up here.
I will say, if it doesn't come up soon, we can go ahead and beat the scene, and delve into the spoiler log and see exactly where it was.
That's true, we can do that.
I'm gonna put it down right now, so we don't keep our next show waiting too long. 20 minutes. Let's put 20 minutes on the clock. Can we find Tim the Tumbleweed within 20 minutes? If not, we'll go through and show Demise what's up.
And so we did not get the tumbleweed there, but we did get a bow upgrade.
Hey.
It's always nice. Now we'll go through and see if we can check the Three Eyes chest. With our uncalibrated beetle here. See, where does the Wiimote think that forward is? Okay, I guess it fixed itself, so it thinks that forward is forward at the moment. That's good. So, question in chat, is this a max settings randomizer? This is not a max settings randomizer. So we don't currently have the goddess cubes enabled, and we also only had to go through 3 dungeons to beat this seed. But the reason we don't have max settings on is because turning on all the settings would probably result in like a 5 or 6 hour seed at this rate, which we do not have time for at the moment. Yeah, you can see why I skipped this check earlier, because this check is very slow to get, and very slow to come back from. hopefully we were able to make the eyes cooperate this time. Oh, the ancient sea chart. Well, now we can get into the sand ship, I guess.
All right.
Actually, no, because we still don't have the Lanayru Caves key, so we actually cannot get into the sand ship. But if we did have the Caves key, we would be able to.
That's another one where the boss, like similar to the imprisons and the marshmallow toes, the kraken in the ship, you know, it's so goofy looking. Such a cartoon character. I remember being scared of it as the tentacles were coming in until I saw the face. Like, okay, you're not scary anymore.
Yeah, it had such a good build-up, but then the actual body form is just like, this. I mean, I guess then Nintendo doesn't want to be too scary, but like, you know, there could have been something more done there.
Yeah. They reined it in after Twilight Princess. You got all the spooky stuff in that game. Yeah, chat for you. It looks like something out of Monsters Inc. It totally does.
Yeah.
Not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, you know, kind of unexpected.
So what we're going to do next is we're going to use the claw shots to get up onto the higher portion of the great tree right here. There's 2 rupee sanity checks that we can get up at the top of the tree, which we have to go through the cave for, and then there's also a chest in the cave that we can get. Get over here. Oh, and more Groose music, so it was definitely a good decision to come in here. We do have to defeat this moblin first, though, if we want the game to allow us to get down here. Otherwise, there's a void plane there that will take us back up.
Of course.
Another root boar. This is not what I signed up for.
I was all a ploy. We're not finding Tim the Tumbleweed, or the Timbleweed, so to speak.
The Timbleweed.
Not my idea. I saw someone in chat do it, and it was great.
Oh, I see.
We're just learning so much more about, and you're dead, but it's fine because it's a death ward.
Yep, because that was intentional. Mark things off on the tracker here. Yeah, so we wanted to get up and out here because this is where the last few rupee checks are. So this one up here, that's the 3rd bow. All right. This is a final bow upgrade, which gives us the Sacred Bow. Which looks very nice, and is also the most powerful weapon in the game.
We have a question in chat. What is Jim missing for Go mode? And the answer is the Tumbleweed. AKA, we're already in Go mode, but just because we kind of want to know where it is, we're spending a little bit of time hunting for the Tumbleweed, the most important item in the game before we go and take on Demise.
We also found the whip, which is good because I actually wanted to go to Ancient Cistern next. Because even though Ancient Cistern's not in Logic, the Tumbleweed could still be there. So there's actually, I think in a weird way, there's more of a chance we would find the Tumbleweed in out-of-Logic places. Because that's where all the junk items probably are.
Treating the Tumbleweed as junk.
Doing another version of Early Lake Floria right here. Much easier than the previous one that we did. And it's sort of like a classic Skyward Sword trick that you could learn at home yourself in about 5 minutes. Just to jump slash onto the fence that they made too low.
Look at that.
So because we found the whip, we can't actually completely beat the Ancient Cistern.
And one of the reasons I actually wanted to come in here is because the Ancient Cistern has this really cool trick that we can do called Cistern Clip, which I wanted to show off. So this specifically only works in the NTSC 1.0 version of Skyward Sword.
Okay.
But there's actually a very small hole in the floor here, which we can actually sort of just fall through. I didn't quite fall through it correctly there, so we'll have to try again though. You can kind of see as Link gets up, like his shadow gets a little bit cut off between his feet. There we go. And that's the hole that we're running over that you see. And this allows us to get out of bounds, and more specifically, we can use this to get into the whip room early. By going into this out of bounds water and making our way over to the feetsies over here.
Hey.
Goddess Plume, that is not the tumbleweed, but still a junk item. Maybe that means we're getting close.
Could be. We get the tumbleweed, and Demaya's like, tumbleweed, my only weakness.
Exactly. And so now we're going to do the clip again, except this time we're going to go to the second half of the dungeon using it.
How precise is this setup here to get in? Is it like something I could learn in a couple minutes, or is it like kind of precise?
Yeah, you can generally do it within a couple minutes. So the most important thing that we do for that setup is we run up the wall to get like a specific angle, which we then target with so that we have the same angle, which is parallel to the seam on the floor that is like missing to fall through it.
Incredible.
Again,
Come on,
unfortunately
tumbleweed.
only in unfortunately only in the NTSC 1.0 version of the original game. It would be useful for speedruns. It would be useful for, I believe, both the all dungeons speedrun of the Wii version and like the what's it called? The Skyward Sword HD speedrun. Also, this guy is floating down here. The mini boss. Normally he's supposed to spawn up a floor higher, but he just kind of floats down now because the statue is a level lower than it should normally be. But we're just gonna leave him be. Get back on up here. He does change the lighting though, makes the lighting a little bit darker to try to be intimidating.
I'm always fascinated the stuff you can get away with without like crashing the game, and the game can handle it, make it workable. Like, it spawns up here, we're just gonna lower him down because for some reason that contingency exists, and everything's good. We're fine.
Oh, that's interesting. Grabbing the heart there actually delayed that hand cutscene. Didn't know that would happen. Another rupee sanity moment.
Is the Rupee Sanity feature something quite new to Skyward Sword, Rando?
Yes, it is pretty new. So this room coming up is actually a room that in Rupee Sanity has 5 checks in it. There are 5 freestanding rupees in this room. We got 3 over here. Are any of these the tumbleweed? Nope, just dungeon map and 2 heart pieces, unfortunately. What about back there? Nope, that is a monster horn.
Remember, chat, the odds of us actually finding this with how big Skyward Sword is for a full clear is pretty low. But your questions will be answered for sure.
Yes.
Eventually. I'll say after you've done the last check, you're going to check in this seed. I'll pull it up and we'll get the answer.
certain small key.
But I'm glad we're doing Ancient Cistern. Lots of like cool tech in here that we can see.
Yeah, we can also see how this dungeon was coming up very clearly not designed for you to have the claw shots in. Because there's a way that we can skip almost the entire second half of the dungeon just by claw shotting a vine wall. So very useful to have the claw shots coming in here for the randomizer, because that allows us to get to the one check past here very quickly. So there's this check, which we
Only need the whip to get to, but then
behind this one, we do have the vine wall, which has the check right here. Oh, life metal.
Hi. Now, in terms of water-based temples in 3D Zelda Gymnast, how does this one rank for you?
This one is probably at the top, I would say.
Yeah, I was a very big fan of this.
Yeah, most water dungeons in Zelda games tend to be a little bit tedious, but this one is just, like, excellent, I would say. Probably because it doesn't have you messing with water levels between various rooms.
Or pausing every 10 seconds to put on the iron boots or take off the iron boots. Then, oh, you forgot something, put them on, put them off.
Thankfully, OOT 3D solves that issue,
Yeah.
so... This is why you should run OOT 3D 100% instead of the original game.
But why I could just play Rando instead. That's
true. Rando also exists for OOT 3D, though, now as well. I will shamelessly plug this because I am one of the developers of it. Alright, so we have one more check besides the boss in Ancient Cistern here. Which is the Bokoblin all the way here at the bottom of the dungeon. Also, this spider just doesn't care that we're on the lily pad. Alright, does our Bokoblin friend down here have the tumbleweed? He does not.
Hey.
Alright, so I'd say let's complete the Ancient Cistern because Galactos is a cool boss.
Sure. And then after that, we can take on Demise.
I'd say we could probably do one more pass through Lanayru Desert for a bunch of quick claw shot checks.
Sure.
And then make our way to Demise while we learn about where the tumbleweed is.
Yeah, once you start making your way over there, we're gonna play a little game, chat. You're gonna guess the region of Skyward Sword that the tumbleweed is in, if we don't find it. See if we can find a winner. There aren't too many locations to pick from.
Yes, let's see. So the tumbleweed is not... It's not going to be in Farron anywhere. Well, I guess unless it's in the end of Ancient Cistern here. Because we've done everything else that we can possibly do in the Farron region. But it could be in basically any other region. Could be in Eldin, could be in Volcano Summit, could be in Lanayru, could be in Sandship, could be in Fire Sanctuary, could be in the Thunderhead. We haven't found the Ballad of the Goddess, so we never got access to the Thunderhead this seed.
Yeah, have we played the harp even once?
No. Even though the harp has, we did the harp requirement to open up, or to raise the Gate of Time, but we haven't needed to actually play it for anything. Alright, part of the reason I wanted to show off Galactos, though, is because Galactos actually has some pretty cool strategies, which greatly help speed up the fight for speedruns. So normally the first phase here has to be 2 cycles long, but if we use some bombs here, if we place down 2 bombs and then have both of them explode, both of the bombs will actually deal a combined 20 damage to Galactos to get through the first phase in just a single cycle. It's pretty nice. And now for the second phase here, normally this is supposed to be a 3-cycle second phase. But because we actually have the bow, which you're not normally supposed to have during this fight, the second phase is a bit of a joke. All it takes once you reveal the weak spot is just a single shot with the sacred bow, and he's down.
Dang, GG.
Just to give you an idea of how powerful the sacred bow is.
Oh, yeah. Reminds me of the silver arrows in Link to the Past. One-shotting almost every boss.
Alright, now, did our gamble pay off? Is the tumbleweed here?
Come on! Give it to me! It's a heart container. Or is that just the visual representation? Yeah, so we'll find out.
Yeah, the model's not updated, so... Oh, that is a potion medal.
Nope.
But we still have the end of the dungeon check. Is the tumbleweed the reward for completing Ancient Cistern?
I'm way more invested in this than I should be.
I mean, it's the classic randomizer casino. Who's going to find it first? Or in this case, will we find it at all, I guess? No, just a golden skull. Alright, well, let's make our one last pass through the desert here. Still also never found a shield, is interesting.
Ah, who needs one?
We could use the tumbleweed as a shield. I'm sure that'll block some pretty heavy attacks.
Yeah. There's a reason there's only one in the game, because it's very powerful.
Yes. Actually, if we want to get a discount tumbleweed, we could catch one with the bug net. Which is a thing you can do in this game.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? We're going to get Tim's brother, Todd, the tumbleweed.
Alright, so let's see here. So first we will start at the mine and tree and make our way through the caves and the gorge. Specifically because we have the life tree fruit, so we can get that extra check in the gorge.
I do remember spending a lot of time grinding for tumbleweeds in this, because I forget exactly what it was for a side quest. We had to get like X number of things.
Yeah, that's for upgrading your items to be more powerful in the bazaar. Oh, more gratitude crystals.
We could almost collect that blue beam off of 50.
It's true. You can almost get that blue rupee. Alrighty. I like taking this path because this is a path you never see in speedruns. Because there's just no reason to get through get to the Lanayru caves this way.
Yeah, the claw shots are just kind of fun to use.
See if maybe we can get a hint for where the tumbleweed is.
All right, Skyward Sword devs, Randomizer devs, if you're listening, hear me out.
Unfortunately, no tumbleweed hint.
Hear me out. We need some tumbleweed hits. They say that a bundle of sticks can be found in Lanayru Desert.
Get our check from Golo the Goron here.
Can we take a minute to talk about that hair? And just how extra it is?
The hair here, the hair is very impressive.
Yeah.
Almost rivals Groose, but not quite.
Truly a game filled with hair.
Sorry for scaring you, Golo, but we had to... Oh, what was that?
Wait, do you
We
just
blew
get
up some
stuck?
of the rocks, but not all of them.
Okay,
Yeah, it looked
all right.
like I got stuck inside the crawl space. That would have been funny if we soft locked there. Delivering a magma to the sky is an empty bottle. Oh well. Alrighty. So we can heal our friend the Thunder Dragon here. Let's see if he is gracious enough to grace us with the presence of the tumbleweed. Oh, just another adventure pouch. Maybe the tumbleweed is hiding down here. Nope, that's just more gratitude crystals.
How many
One
checks do
more
we have
check in
left?
this area. I would say this is probably the last check
All
we
right,
should
last
look for.
one. Last location height.
All of our hopes and dreams lie in this dig spot.
And we've got
An empty bottle.
Unfortunate. Well, Timnus, while you head to our final boss. Chat, it is time to get your guesses in. You know, Gymnast, if you want to guess as well, you can. Which region
Oh,
of Skyward Sword do you think?
I'm gonna guess it's in the Thunderhead.
The Thunderhead, okay. Yeah, get your guesses. Like, pick a region. If you want to pick an individual spot, that's fine as well. I'm only asking for regions. We'll see if anybody can collect it. And as we're on once we start the final boss, we're gonna open up the log. We're gonna find out where it is. See guesses in for
There is
Sand
actually
Ship. Go ahead.
there is actually one more final spot that we can get as we go to the final boss, which is the one check in the past, known as Zelda's Blessing.
Sure, why not? Well, on the way.
Yeah. Takes like 20 extra seconds to go get.
Volcano Summit, Thunderhead in Skyloft, yeah, the Sand Sea, the Heart mini game, the Sky. A lot of people hoping for Sand Ship.
We got one chat member guessing that it's in the game. That is a bold guess.
It's a bold guess.
It'd be really funny if somehow like there was an error in the item pool and the tumbleweed was just missing.
So, what
Skipper's
else do you have to
Retreat is a
do
good
to
guess.
reach the boss? Like, what's the end game path here? No, in other games, you go through Ganon's castle, you do some challenges, defeat some mini bosses. What takes us to Demise?
So Demise is in Hylia's realm, which is in the past here, which is why we had to open up the Gate of Time. And then he is just behind the door on the opposite side of where we are now. And that door is what the 3 pieces of the Triforce lock, which is why we had to find those 3 pieces. And unfortunately, the Blessing does not have the Faded Tumbleweed.
Unfortunate.
So in Hylia's realm here, we first do have to go through the Horde fight, which thankfully, because I have the true Master Sword, is not going to be that bad. But with just the Master Sword, it can kind of be a bit painful sometimes. We also have this very not appropriate music of the Sand Sea. Very calming. Not sure it really matches the vibe, but we'll go with it.
Can't wait to hear what we got for Demise's music.
I think my favorite track that I've ever heard on Demise was when we got the track titled Romance in the Air when fighting against him.
That's a great track.
It is, yeah. It's the one where Link and Zelda are flying around in the clouds before Zelda gets caught by the Girahim tornado.
It's very romantic.
Also got a hopefully cool skip coming up here called Horde Skip, where we're going to run up this Moblin shield to skip a spiral around here. And this also skips a really annoying part of the Horde where we have to fight this blue Bokoblin that has like way too much health. So skips the worst part of the Horde and just looks cool.
Looking cool and saving time. Can you ask for more?
Oh, that's weird. The music had a weird jump there. Probably because the music is supposed to change.
Yeah, really taxing the Wii here with all these enemies on screen.
Yeah. It was Nintendo's test so that they knew Hyrule Warriors would not work on the Wii.
Needed 2 more generations of consoles.
So unfortunately, I do not have a shield here, which means that fight's going to be a little bit awkward.
I'm amazed how fast you're just going through these different levels, because it took me forever. Wow, great stuff.
Oh yeah, this last sequence of the game has been the same for pretty much forever, so I've got at least a couple of years of practice with just this.
Yeah. Oof,
Oh, we got some actually appropriate
out.
music here. This is where he says the line, "You wretched brat."
Now, how long is this fight when you're coming in here with your minimum sword upgrade?
Too long.
All right, too long.
All right. And we get to fight Demise with no shield, but that's not a problem.
All right, and as we're heading into Demise, I'm going to pull up the spoiler log here and get the answer to where the tumbleweed was. You said Thunderhead?
That was my guess, yeah.
That's your guess. All right. All right, I have an answer. The tumbleweed is in none other than the Fire Sanctuary, in the second trapped magma room past the bombable wall.
Ah, yes, the classic.
The classic location for Tim the Tumbleweed right there.
Oh, wait, that's actually one of the only locations in the game that is hard-locked behind magma bits. That's infamously the location that Skyward Sword speedrun racers, or Skyward Sword randomizer racers, do not want there to be a check. That is required. Alright, and that will be time
Ooh,
for the randomizer. With a 2:32:40 something. I didn't end my timer at the right time, but something like that.
Close enough, we got it. That was an incredibly smooth fight. Like, I spent more time looking at the spoiler log for where the tumbleweed was than you just beating the fight. I did not expect it to go that quickly.
Oh yeah, the final boss is pretty quick in this game if you do it right.
Gee. Ah, great stuff, Gymnast. This was a fantastic run. And although we didn't find the tumbleweed, we at least had the knowledge of where it was. Is there anything else in the scene we're curious about where it was while I have the log open? We find pretty much everything.
Someone in chat mentioned the cursed medal, which is an
Cursed
item
medal?
that we don't want to find.
All right. So, the cursed medal is on Beetle's Island, the cage. Goddess chest.
So we
Not
really
too far
weren't going to
away.
find that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Skyward Sword's done here, but remember, Gymnast is going to be running is all dungeons, correct?
Yep.
The Wii version at AGDQ 2023. So you check the schedule. Be sure to tune in to his run there. I'm sure it's going to be great. I know I'm going to be watching. Because, Gymnast is pretty good at Skyward Sword. Has, of like the four main categories, world records in 3 of them, including all dungeon, and a second place time in the any percent. Do you plan on ever going for the full main board sweep?
I mean, the current any percent route is actually very consistent, but going for like an optimal, or trying to go for a world record time does involve basically resetting every 15 minutes until you get good RNG on one aspect.
Oh, no.
Which is, it's not very fun, unfortunately, but maybe one day if we can make that part consistent.
All right, I'm putting one last link for everybody. Please go follow Gymnast. Just very, very fun runner all around. And what else do you do on your stream outside of Skyward Sword Rando? I know all the 3D Zelda speedruns, but outside of this, exactly what else can we expect to see from your streams in the future?
Just pretty much more 3D Zelda speedruns and randomizers. I do want to attempt the 3D Zelda challenge again. Probably after AGDQ, before Tears of the Kingdom comes out.
Mm-hmm. And what constitutes the 3D Zelda challenge for those of us who may not be familiar?
So the 3D Zelda challenge is basically a single speedrun of the any percent categories for all of the original 3D Zelda games. So no remakes are involved in this challenge. It is, I believe the current time estimate would be about 6.5 hours.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not too bad, all things considered, because it's, any percent for Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and Breath of the Wild. And when Tears of the Kingdom comes out, that'll probably be added in as well.
Yeah, well, can't wait to see how that speedrun evolves over time, because I know Breath of the Wild was just you can go straight to Ganon right at the end. Curious if it's going to be kept to be the same way. But, all right, that's unfortunately it for Game Masters, everyone. Gymnast, thanks again so much for coming on to showcase this for the GDQ audience. I had a blast and learned way more than I thought I would about Skyward Sword, and I kind of want to pick this up myself. And if anybody else wants to try out Skyward Sword Randomizer, I'm sure there's a Discord out there. Can't post a link directly for you all in the chat, but if we wanted to find out more about Skyward Sword Random, where would we go, Gymnast?
There's actually a very easy link you can follow. You can just go to ssrando.com, and there you can find a link to the Discord server and a link to the latest builds of the randomizer to play.
All right, perfect.
That's all you need, ssrando.com.
Easy enough to remember. Yep, there's the link in chat, so be sure to go check that out if you want to play this. And we're going to be ending at Game Masters here, everybody, but your content for tonight on the GDQ Hotfix is not over yet. Be sure to stay tuned after the break for movie nights on Time Capsule. We're not actually watching movies. We're going to be playing movie-based games, and those games, The Matrix, The Path of Neo, as well as King Kong. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be a wonderful show on Time Capsule. See you all next time.